All of these complications that I've mentioned point to a larger question. It's actually the question that I was mainly dealing with in my dissertation and a lot of my research. It's the following question, right? When we want to have a definite principle of liberty, right, and we put a high priority on people's right to live their lives as they choose, how do we leave room for people to take their objections to other people's behaviors seriously? Okay. One thing that got me thinking about this was a passage in a book on toleration. It was a really good book. And the person said at one point that freedom wouldn't mean much if all it meant was that you could do what you wanted at home with the shades drawn so nobody could see you. And I thought, that's right. But you know, the opposite is true. Well, freedom to object to other people's behavior doesn't mean much if all you can do is quietly express your behavior in your home with the shades drawn where no one else can see you. Right? So what is it that I'm drawing from here? Right? Well, the lesson that I'm drawing is if we're going to talk about liberty, it's going to seem that we cannot avoid the following question. What rights do people have to live by their objections to other people's behavior? Particularly, what rights do people have to distance themselves from involvement in the behaviors that they disapprove of? And that's going to turn out to be a difficult question. Right? It's interesting that Waldron, right, a critic of Mill, has brought out this issue. Right? He said at one point that one way to solve the issue was to make in many cases, to make the rights of the person who objects the thing that determines it, right? Determines the issue. And he said, but that's what something like Mill's principle can't do. Now my response was, well, why not? Right? Why should we assume that the principle will be completely determined by the question about the rights and liberty of the person who wants to engage in certain behaviors? Right? Instead, why wouldn't we say that there's this complicated interplay between the rights of people to engage in self-regarding behavior and the rights of other people to take seriously their objections to those behavior? Now, it might make things messier, right? But it might be the way that libertarianism and/or liberalism is going to have to go.